It's story time.
Good morning and welcome to Storytime. I'm Kimberlyn with Life's Work Yoga. Today is a story that is really in celebration of this transition from summer to fall. And it's a story of going back to school. What do you remember of your days of attending school? My dad likes to tell the story that basically he walked 5 miles uphill in both directions, to school and from school. But ironically, the story that his mother tells, and she was his teacher, is very, very different. So it's from my dad that I learned that you never have to let the truth get in the way of a good story. Because stories, at their core, are about connection. And when we can layer on an authenticity, truth aside, when we can build in opportunity for vulnerability and authenticity, stories unite us, bring us together in celebration of all of life's joys. I'm so glad you're here. You want to hear the story? Let's begin again. Here we are. Good morning and welcome. It's 9:30 East Coast time here in Maryland, and I'm Kimberlyn Cahill with Life's Work Yoga. Well, I don't have to tell you that it is the 15th of September, the middle of September. When and how did we get here? Well, two things I wanted to share today. The first is, if you happen to know my husband or have a way to connect with him today, tell him happy birthday. Today is his birthday, and it's weird. I'm sure someone in your life has had a birthday during this COVID social distancing time. And as much as he loves being left alone in the house to work and house to play and he does go out for groceries. It's important that even my husband, the anti-social hermit that he is, be connected. So if you have it in you, send him a note. Tell him happy birthday. The other thing that I wanted to share today is actually more related to the season that we are in, this transition from summer to fall. And what's more nostalgic about this transition from summer to fall than going back to school? So I've been thinking a lot about this concept, this memory, or these memories of my childhood, my upbringing. And for me, as a professional educator, those going back to school stories continued well into my 20s for myself as I went on for advanced education, and then I worked in the university setting. Then I worked in primary education school setting, and then I started having kids. So every fall, every August, September has been an opportunity for going back to school. But the story that I want to share with you today is one that now brings me a little chuckle. Not only because of what I remember from my childhood storytelling ability, but also because it still plays a role in my life today. And that is a story of walking to school in Round Rock, Texas. So this was technically my second year of school. However, because we had just moved from South Dakota to Texas, my new school wouldn't let me go into first grade. Well, my birthday was kind of a weird timing with the start of the cutoffs or whatever for school. So anyway, I was kind of bummed because the school had decided that I was almost 6, right? So I was October 28th. So start of school, I wasn't yet 6, therefore I couldn't go into first grade. So I was walking to school with my brothers and the neighborhood posse who we had just met. Like literally we had just moved into the neighborhood, barely met anybody, but we were walking to school. Now, I don't think it was very far away from the house, a few blocks. Otherwise we wouldn't be walking. And yet, I was excited. I was excited to get back to routine. I was excited to get back to learning. I love learning, have always loved learning. But I was fully aware that the school had defined me as younger or not ready for what I knew I was ready for, which was first grade. So that was the first kind of notch on my belt, so to speak, in terms of why I was perhaps a little defensive. But on this walk to school, and I don't know that it was the first day, but it was within the first couple of days, this big kid, she asked me my name and I told her. Now I say big kid because of course I was a little kid. Not only was I a kindergartner, but I was little. I was teeny tiny, skinny, small. And she was this tall, lanky. So I'm imagining now that she was probably in 5th grade, 6th grade, because she was going to the elementary school with me and my siblings. So anyway, she said, "What's your name?" And I said, "My name is Kimberlyn." And then she said, "There's no such name as Kimberlyn." And I remember like, well, that's my name. That's my name. That's what my parents gave me. Now, true, no one called me that at that time. But it was one of those moments where I knew that I was shifting to create my own identity. I was Kimberlyn. Well, this gal, her name was Kimberly. And she felt that being the big kid and sharing a common name, she decided that Kimberlyn could not be a real name. Well, we didn't resolve it. We didn't even come to an agreement. She just concluded the discussion that she was right and moved on. But here we are, literally, 40 some odd years later. And I remember that conversation because she told me I wasn't who I knew I was. I didn't know what it meant to be Kimberlyn. I barely knew what it meant to be a part of my family and a part of this new community. But I knew that something was taken away from me because she told me I didn't exist. She told me I didn't know what I was talking about. So, story time, right? Story time is about validating our stories, whether or not they're true. My dad always likes to say, never let the truth get in the way of a good story. Well, I'm not advocating for lying. That's not the point. But what I'm saying is that there are many sides to the same story. And how they influence our mind stuff, how they influence our heart stuff, will impact how we show up in our world. Now, I actually didn't start using my full given name, Kimberlyn, until I started to publish my writing. It was my local paper and my newspaper and things like that from my high school and whatnot. So anyway, when I started to submit things for publication, I just started using my full name. But everyone still called me Kim. There was one person in my life who tried to call me Berlin because he thought that was a good substitute for Kimberlyn. But that was during the whole taking down the wall of Germany, the Berlin Wall. So that wasn't very attractive to me. Anyway, the point is, you get to decide who you are. And in that, you also get to decide what you call yourself, right? Whether it's the name that was given to you by your parents and assigned to you at your birth, or whether it's the name that you select and you embody so that you can be your fullest and best self. So, hi, I'm Kimberlyn. My pronouns are she and her, and I welcome you back to living your best life. If that means remembering who you once were or rediscovering who you've always meant to be, that is living an inspired life. Thank you so much for letting me share this story. I have a couple more back to school stories that I want to share with you. So I hope you'll tune in again next Tuesday, 9:30, for just a few minutes, or perhaps you want to visit the video after the fact. It'll be here on Life's Work Yoga Facebook page, or you can come to lifesworkyoga.com/storytime to see all of the stories and meet my guests who have shared their stories of learning to live intimately with inspiration. authentically and transparently showing up to live our best lives. That's what we do. That's what we're invited to do. Will you accept that invitation? Take care, be well, and bye for now.